Dispenza famously said, your personality creates your personal reality. And in his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, he talks about just that. How everything we do is a reflection of how we perceive the world, and therefore the world we perceive is what we understand it to be within ourselves. We can't look at the world and see anything better than what we are experiencing ourselves. And at some point, the emotions that we have are creating the world around us, and therefore the world around us is insinuating certain emotions. So it's this constant back and forth. And within this book, I've learned 3 particular ways that we need to approach life in order to be in a place where it's much easier for us to approach the world around us and actually be successful in stopping who we have been to become who we are supposed to be. And the first step for doing so is to realize, where are you actually even going? What does success mean to you? And what is this goal that you're trying to reach? So many people attribute their life to the decisions that other people have forced upon them. People get married at 30 because they feel like they're running out of time, and then they have children because everyone else is doing it. But why are you choosing to do the actions that you are doing? Is it because everybody else has told you that you should? Is it because society at large gives value to those decisions that you yourself have been told by your family, the people around you, that this is what you should be doing? Is this something that you actually sat down and evaluated and contemplated and have decided for yourself? Which one is it? Is it a combination of all of these things? Have you actually thought about having children and decided for yourself, regardless of what everyone else is saying, that this is the right decision for you? We have to ask ourselves, why are we doing what we're doing? And if we don't know why, it's going to make the actions behind that goal a lot harder to do. It is going to be a lot more difficult for you to sign up to be an engineering major if you hate math and science and you don't actually want to be an engineer, but everybody in your family tells you that you'll make a lot of money if you do. Or to go and be a lawyer or a doctor because, yeah, it's a lot of school, but you'll make a lot of money. Why are you doing it? And money isn't a bad reason, but what is the reason and why are you doing it? What are you chasing through this goal? Are you getting married to that person because you feel like you have run out of time, that you've talked to 20 people and they all sucked, so this 21st one is fine enough? What is the reason? And are you doing it based out of fear or in the pursuit of a dream that you actually have? Do you have a dream for your life? And if you're sitting there like, nope, I just want to make enough money to survive and so I can watch TV and go on vacation twice a year, that's fine. But is that actually what you're doing for you? And is that what you want to be doing? So if you don't have a goal in mind, no direction is favorable. No way that you're going, no action that you're taking is actually getting you anywhere. If you don't put a destination in your phone, it's not going to bring you anywhere. Your car isn't magically going to take the left turn to the perfect place that you want to go if you don't know where that place is. So you have to have a destination in mind. And there are people who can guide you along the way or who can try to tell you what decisions you should be making, but it's up to you if you're going to follow them or not. And if you are going to follow them, why are you doing so? Do you have any reason behind why you're doing what you're doing? And your reasons can change over the years as you grow up and you evaluate and more information comes in. And that is exactly what you're supposed to do. No scientist would be good at their job if they didn't take data and make conclusions and then create data that can be replicated. You have to be able to get this same outcome no matter what you do. So what are you doing? And if you have the data that if you go home and you sit on your couch and you just watch TV, that you're not actually moving forward and nobody is following what you're saying or cares about what you have to say, then you have the data for that. But if for 3 days you tried learning how to edit a video and it didn't get very far, and you're like, well, I guess it's just not going to work, then you're probably right. It's not going to work because you stopped putting effort into it. If when you fell the 14th time when you were learning how to walk, and you're just like, I don't think this walking thing is for me. I don't know. I haven't gotten it the first 3 times I've done it. Why isn't this working? I haven't gotten it right the first 50 times. That's okay. Once you give up, you have made a decision about where you stand with this. And you're right, there's plenty of things that you're going to try to pursue that aren't going to work out for you. You're going to try certain things and you're going to learn you're not that interested in it. You don't have the passion to continue to do it. And that is just as important as continuing to work on what you want. If you try writing or you try skiing and you put in a valiant effort and you say, I just don't like this. I don't like being cold. I don't like lugging this equipment up the mountain. I don't like falling. This just doesn't bring me any joy. This is just not fun. I'm gonna hurt myself if I keep doing this. And if I do, I'm just gonna be mad. Then stop doing it. You have gathered enough data, but now you know, and now there's no more questions to be asked. Are you even asking questions about the life that you want to live? And if not, why aren't you? This is the only life that we know that we get to have. And we have to stop treating it like it is something that is going to be replenished. And that is really the second point of all of this. You only get so many years, we don't know how many years, and we need to do something with them in order for us to pursue a life that is worth living. It doesn't have to be something that is worth living for anybody but ourselves, but it has to be worthy of our time. You don't know how much time you have left. You don't know when the clock runs out. So you have to live this life as if you're not going to get another one, as if someday you're going to stop having the opportunity to continue in any direction. At some point, the path you're on is going to be so solidified that the work to get off of it is going to be so grand that you definitely won't want to do it then. And why not do it now? Before you get older, before you have more responsibilities, before you have even more proof that you don't like your current life. If you have ever come to the conclusion, I don't like this person, this job, this food that I'm eating, you have come to enough of a conclusion to pursue a different path. You don't need to have 300 reasons why you don't want to be in this relationship with this person, to stop talking to that friend. You can have one reason, and that is enough for you to change the course of your life. But you have to be brave enough to look at that and to decide that that is true, that you are actually going to move forward and make this decision on your own behalf and their behalf. It's not fair to have somebody in your life who's only half there. And it's not fair for you to continue to be that person in other people's lives. You have to live this life for you, and you have to stop participating in other people's lives when you reach that wall. When people have shown you who they are and you no longer want to be in their lives, then remove yourself. And you have to stop giving all of this time and effort to every single person around you because you feel like it is for a good reason or because you want to help them or whatever it is. And now I'm not talking about volunteering your time to actually help people. I'm talking about all that time that you spend trying to get this guy to like you, or trying to make this job appreciate all the work that you've done, or to get this person to look at you in a different way. And if I just got them one more present, then they'd understand their worth and their value and that they deserve better. It just doesn't work that way. And all that effort that you keep giving to this person and that time to that person, it's not worth it. Because only you get to live your life and they have to live theirs. And even if it is somebody that it means so much to you, you have to let them make their own decisions because you have to make your own. Nobody is going to pay for the consequences of your life like you are going to have to. If you lose your job or your house or whatever befalls you, you will still be the person who has to deal with it. Yes, your parents or your siblings or family or friends could help out, but at the end of the day, it is your problem to deal with. You have to realize that it does not matter what everyone else is doing. It only matters what you do with your life when you do it. And that is what he's telling us in this book. If you want to break the habit of being the person you've always been, you have to change the habits of the things that you have always done. What are you always thinking? Where are you going? What is it doing for you? And you might be saying, well, I don't like being this weight or making this much money, but there is a reason why you're staying in this situation, and you have to be the person to figure it out. And there are two ways to go about that. You can either create so many new habits that it outnumbers all of the other reasons or all the other things that you have been doing. You start going to the gym, you make your dinner every night, you go on that walk, you stop talking to that friend who only complains about a guy for the 100th time. You have to make new habits to overlap and eclipse all of the other decisions that you've been making. You have to make the right decision right now and continue to make it as long as you are interested in this new life. And hopefully the new life you're pursuing is a better one, and that you don't want to revert back to this. So either you have to create so many new habits that it gets rid of all the old ones, or you have to evaluate why you even want these things, get to the root of that, and then you'll be left with this space of like, well, I know my parents really didn't give me as many presents as I wanted when I was a kid, or didn't give me as much time, and that's why I'm pursuing all these people who also don't give me time, but every time they do give me time, it means so much to me because it's like, my parents finally gave me time, and it's like, that's actually not how it works. This new person, this new adventure is not going to make up for anything that happened to you when you were younger, or to stick it to someone. No one actually cares about your life as much as you think they are, because when was the last time you watched someone's story and you sat with it for days because you knew it was targeted towards you and it was trying to get you to do something? Like, no one is thinking about you as much as you are giving them credit for doing so. So it's usually a combination of both that we have to do. We have to create new habits that outpace the old habits, and we also have to realize that we have to stop doing those habits because it's brought us to a place that we no longer want to be in. And those new habits have to be better for us, and they have to be as easy as the habits that we had before. And you don't have to completely throw out everything you've ever done and start from scratch. You just have to adjust slightly. If you do cook at home once or twice a week, just build on that. All right, well, next time you go to the grocery store, give yourself some more time to evaluate what kind of meals you want to make. Look up recipes that sound more interesting to you. What is it that you like? Can you make it in a healthier version? Or can you make the same thing that you've always been making, but make it even more special, so that when you have it, it's not just this thing that you eat quickly in front of the TV and you're done with it and then you feel bad after. If you really like the mac and cheese that your grandma made and you love to make it every week, make that a really special event for yourself. Say, all right, well, Sunday night, I'm going to invite 3 of my friends over and we're going to spend 2 hours preparing the sauce for the cheese, and we're going to hand make the pasta. Make it a special event so that you get to incorporate all these fun things, get like the actual recipe, hand write it out, make this something more special, so, and therefore harder to do all the time. And now it's something that you're going to cherish instead of go through and just experience. This whole life is about creating experiences for yourself and enjoying this life. We're always running, doing something, getting groceries, rushing through it, watching a movie, and being on our phones the whole time. We can make everything in our life an event. It can be fun. It can be an experience that we want to enjoy. And that is really at the root of all of this. How can you bring more joy and excitement into your life? You don't have to cut off every person you've ever known, quit your job, cut your hair, move to another country. How can you make the stuff that you do on a daily basis more special for you? How can you incorporate that specialness into your everyday life so that you get to create a life that you want to live, that you don't have to outrun, that you don't have to hate and turn to different addictions to try to run away from? If you like drinking wine or you like experiencing different cultures, how can you incorporate that into your everyday life without spending $5,000 on a vacation and going into credit card debt? How can you incorporate lovely experiences without going a million different directions and spending a lot of money. If you love Paris or the French culture, how can you bring that in? Can you create a night where you make bread from scratch and then you sample these 5 different wines with your friends for a dinner party? Can you enjoy this life just a little bit more? And isn't that really what we're all trying to do? How can we turn these experiences into something that we cherish? You don't have to go to Universal Studios to enjoy the fantasy of Harry Potter. You can watch the movies at home and create a few little snacks that represent different snacks that Harry would eat or that you could enjoy yourself, that you could make at home. It's all about enjoying the moment and creating an atmosphere of excitement and love and peace and to laugh. That is how you break the habit of being yourself. Instead of having all these things that you have to do, how can you turn these experiences into the memories of your life that you actually want to look back on? If you have young kids or you want that, don't you want to give them a different childhood experience? I know that's what I would want to do, and you don't have to wait until you have kids to do that. You can do that now, so that when you get to a point where you do want to have kids or a partner in your life, you're used to creating your life into this beautiful fantasy and dress up when you go to the movies, look like you actually care about the life that you're pursuing. And if you're thinking, well, I actually don't have the funds to do this, I can't turn my life into this fabulous thing, you're reaching too far ahead into the future. You are trying to elaborate this into that $5,000 trip where you don't have to. And if you do feel like you want to make more money so you can afford better experiences or actually be able to turn events into these fun things, then what is stopping you from them? What have you told yourself about yourself that you can't actually go and get these things? That you can't actually go out and have fun and create these cute little things? Why can't you do that? Is that because growing up you were told that you can't, that you don't have the money, that the money has to go somewhere else? That's what I was constantly told, that the money needs to go to your family because they don't have any money, and I can't get you these toys. You don't get to have these things because they need to survive. And you know what? My parents did what they could do, but that is also why I've pursued to be able to live a life where I can afford experiences that I want. And that is also because I figured out in some ways what it is that I want. I want to have fun when I go and do these events. When I go out to dinner, I want to make it a fun experience, if only because I put on something cute and I put a bow in my hair or something like that. It doesn't have to be extravagant to the nines. It just has to be fun for you. But you have to decide, what does that success look like? What does it mean for you to live a life that is joyous and full of fun? How can you pursue this life if you don't even know what you're pursuing? So you have to figure that out. And you also have to make sure that you are doing the things for you that you need to do. And now the third thing about changing who you are into the person that you want to be, it all comes back to what you are saying to yourself. What is the narrative that you are telling everyone about you, to yourself and to others? When you go out and you dress a certain way, when your hair is done a certain way, when you smile at people or don't, you are sharing how you feel about yourself. How is it that you present yourself to the world? Are you excited to be there? Are you constantly around people who make you feel sad or hurt or like you're not doing enough? Are you around people who are constantly nitpicking every single thing that you do and therefore you're annoyed and you feel stretched in every direction? How do you tell yourself about the world that you live in? What are you doing to make sure that this is a better place for you to be in? It really comes down to, how do you see yourself and how does the rest of the world see you doing that? Because if you're going everywhere and you're annoyed and you're hostile and you're mean, you're probably that way to yourself too. You're probably telling yourself, oh, you look horrible in that, and you're not smart enough to figure that out. Oh, really? You think you can clean the house in one day, or that you're smart enough to do this? How often are you telling yourself something nice, something kind, something sweet, something important, something fun? Is it never? And for a lot of us, it is never, because we've been told that it should be never. Because we were always told that, well, you have to be perfect and skinny and quiet in order for anybody to want to be in your life. And if anybody does want to be in your life that does like you for any of those things, they're not going to stay very long, and they're just using you. What narratives were told to you that you wrote down and now you're telling yourself? Is it the same stories that you've always been told? And if it has been those stories, can you actually write them down and then tell them to yourself? Well, you got a B on that test in second grade, and that's why you're never going to be able to put that desk together yourself or figure out how to get somebody to do it for you, because you failed that test in second grade, and therefore you're just never going to overcome that. Or your friend who you were friends with for a very long time dropped you out of nowhere, and then another friend did that, and then another friend did that. How do you think you're ever gonna create friends who stick around? Everybody wants you for just one reason or another, or they're never gonna stay. Have you heard these things said to you? And did you write them down and now you repeat them to yourself whenever you have the chance to? Whenever somebody does hurt you or something does go belly up, do you repeat these narratives to yourself? And I did that a lot this past year, where I had friends betray me. I had a job that I cared a lot about choose to let me go. It was difficult to look at it and just be like, you know what? This isn't going to be my forever story. This isn't going to be the story that I keep reading to myself for the rest of the time. I am going to change this narrative, and if that means that I have to completely get rid of all these people who betrayed me and start over and try again, and then when that didn't work, try again, I did, because I had to prove to myself that these scare stories were only going to keep me down if I allowed them. If I said that, well, because my story has been written this way, it means it has to, then it will be. And I decided that it wasn't going to be. And I am still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to work on finding friends that I want to be around, but I have the lessons of what I've gone through. When I see that somebody speaks over me or looks down at me for any reason, or just wants to talk to me when they have a problem, but when I do, they don't really want to listen, now I see it from a different perspective. Now I'm like, okay, well, I've given to you. I've tried to create this experience to be fun and exciting and whatever, but you've tried to cut me down. Now I'm willing to see it when it happens, because I would rather be alone in every space than to have people in my life who only want me there because I serve some kind of purpose for them, and they have absolutely no interest in being in my life, to be there for me. And that is not an easy thing to do. A lot of people don't. A lot of people stay in relationships at jobs that they hate or claim to hate, but then again, it gives them something to complain about. It gives them something to be upset about. And we don't have to be that way. We don't have to choose to feel like, oh, this is as good as it gets, and if it's not, then it probably will be just about the same. That next friend will probably still suck, but I should just stick around because I have to. That was a narrative I heard a lot growing up, was, well, they suck, but they're from the same country as you, so you should probably stick around. And that made me stick around a lot longer. It's like, yeah, they suck, but we have this thing in common, and I should just stick around because of that. And there is a lot of identity work that I had to go through to say that just because somebody shares some part of where I'm from with me doesn't mean that they have this monopoly over that trait. Have you ever heard of somebody else being from Bosnia, from enjoying dance, that likes certain things? I'm sure you have. And that's something that you have to tell yourself too. If you, for some reason, think this person, whether it's a relationship, a job, a friendship, is the totality of what is possible, ask yourself, well, have you ever heard of somebody who likes to laugh, of somebody who likes to dance, and somebody who makes money and can afford trips? Have you ever heard of this person existing? And they're going to be like, yes, people do make money, and people like to laugh, and people do like to dance, and yeah, people can be all of those at the same time. If that's true, then those scare tactics that you're telling yourself aren't as true as you may believe. There is a lot of people in this world, and you're not going to meet every single one of them. But if you continue to hold on to people who aren't good for you, you're not creating any space to let good people who actually want to be there for you come into your life. I had to let go of a lot of people, and it created a lot of space in my life. My life changed pretty quickly when I decided that, yeah, part of that decision was made for me, but then I also doubled down on that decision. When I was cut off from the life that I knew, I cut it off completely. I was like, we are not dancing around this and letting people tap dance in and out of my life. They made their choice to not stand by me or to care or to ask me how I was doing. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to cut my losses here. Yeah, that sucks that I had to learn this the hard way, but I'm going to go now. I'm going to move on. I literally moved to a different state and started over, and I was fine. I didn't die. I figured it out, and I had to. I didn't have another choice. I wasn't going to retire at 26 and just call it quits. I had to figure it out. I had to put one foot in front of the other and say, I know I took this kind of behavior from these people for so long. I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to continue to do so. And you might get to a point where you're like, man, I should have done this sooner. I should have cut them off before. And the thing is, you cutting them off at the point that you did taught you the lessons that you needed to know to get you to this next point. And whenever you think, oh, I wish I had done this sooner or whatever, just think that you didn't know enough lessons at that point to walk away, to get out of a situation. And that's okay. You know it now, and now you're choosing to walk away, and that's really all that you can do. Joe Dispenza wants you to break the habit of being yourself, and that's pretty aggressive. Just break the habit of doing the things that don't serve you anymore. Stop being what other people want you to be and be the person that you want to be. Figure out what it is, let go of the things that you're not, forgive yourself, and move on. If you want to become a better version of yourself, you have to decide that what's on the other side of the unknown is better than where I've been, because I know what I have with what I have here, and I deserve better. You deserve better. And you can create it. You just have to go after it and decide that you're worth it, because I know you are. It's time to do it. We talked about Beetlejuice not too long ago and how you can move on from a past that people have pigeonholed you into. And we also talked about Neil Armstrong and what it means to pursue success, to pursue a goal that everyone tells you that is stupid. You can do it all. Let me know what you think about any of these topics. What do you want to pursue that everybody has told you that you can't? Because I got news for you. You can. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing week.